Access to affordable housing continues to be a major problem here in the Commonwealth.
Today, some state lawmakers were back at work in Frankfort to learn more about Kentucky's current housing availability and needs. WKYT's Jessica Umbro has more on the challenges facing Kentuckians when it comes to finding a home. It's our top story at 5:30.
The market has gotten so expensive, more people are experiencing homelessness for the first time.
Lawmakers in Frankfort heard from the Kentucky Housing Corporation about the status of Kentucky's housing needs. And it goes beyond housing specifically designed for low-income Kentuckians.
The overall marketplace needs more housing, and we need kind of a systematic approach that helps Kentucky be able to build and get brought to market more housing to meet our economic and population growth.
The intent of this meeting was not to come to a policy decision about housing in Kentucky, but rather presenters and lawmakers both said that they're just happy that this dialogue is taking place.
I really appreciate some of the terminology and some of the thoughts that you have given us to consider as we go through this.
Despite the housing supply need being for Kentuckians of all income levels, a key point of the meeting is that a lack of housing for all income levels causes a cascade effect for what housing is left for those struggling to make ends meet. In the theoretical game of housing musical chairs, the ones with any disadvantage are the first to suffer.
No one thing can solve this problem. It's going to take a lot of different folks, like I said, a lot of partnerships, and the private sector really has to step up and start working on this.
In Frankfort, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
And for more from today's meeting, you can scan the QR code you see there on your screen, and that will take you to the WKYT News app. That's where you'll find the latest updates and get news alerts sent right to your phone. That app, by the way, free to download.